Alright, hey everyone, how are you doing? I'm done with work. Sorry, quarter to 9, excuse me, 7. Quarter to 7, that would be 1900 hours, would be 7. Alright, like I said, I need to attend to, no, you know what? Look at that, over 24 hours. You know what, let me see exactly when this game's gonna time out. Alright, so according to this, it's gonna time out on the 21st. That's a few days away. So I'm gonna put these on the back burner. I know I probably shouldn't, but screw them. No, that site I've used to like a lot of people. Interesting. This is very interesting. What an interesting move. I'm going to experiment with symmetrical. I mean, if I had played my queen to, I guess it would be d5. I think I'm black. Oops. Yeah, if I played my pawn to d5, that would have been okay. I'm probably going to do that next anyway. Alright, so now this one, of course, we got to give check with the bishop so we can save the queen. So now giving check with the bishop discovers an attack on his pawn at, I guess that would be a7 with my rook. So now, if I play my queen to f3, I get an attack on his rook at a8. If he tries to interpose with his knight at c6, I can easily capture that with my rook. However, yes, that would be fine, and his queen couldn't capture back because my queen's on that diagonal. Let's experiment with that. I like that. I'm going to try it. Sort of unexpected. He hasn't been doing a lot. Slowly developing pieces, not really gaining any ground necessarily, but he won't push those pawns, which of course would weaken the structure he has. I'm just gonna try to push the pawn that I have on a6. You know, may as well give it a try. Seems to be the only opening I can gain. Of course, my knight can be deployed, exposing any attacks along that diagonal that my dark square bishop has sighted down. Good old Sandy Baggy. It's a pretty easy game there to win. Ah, so they finally try to pressure my knight. So, I'm considering the possibilities of this move. Um, I could go to b5. I could go to f5, but typically that would be a simple retreat. Oh, wait a second. I could give check here. I like that. I'm going to do that first. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I could do this, and then if he captures the knight, the bishop will run away. Then he'd have a pawn attacking my pawn at d4. I could pin that pawn technically with my queenside rook, but he could simply just play d5. I could respond with, c5. He'd play pawn to c5. I could respond with pawn to d5. I'm gonna give that a try. So now, we have a rook for black's. Oh no, we have black's rook for one of our bishops. Is one way to look at it, keeping the knights equal. So that is an advantage, a rather significant one. Now I have a nice little fork right here, the queen and his light squared bishop. Now he could simply defend. You could play something like queen to f5. I could push g4. Alright, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna make him work for it, though he'll easily do it. That game's terribly lost. I don't see any way of even getting a stalemate. But such is life. What's good about that is now my knight also defends the square at d8. So if he captures, rook takes rook, my rook takes rook, queen takes rook, knight takes queen. So that would not be to his advantage. I mean, why not? Pawn takes knight. I don't know why he didn't move the knight. Maybe he made a mistake. Wild, man. Wild. That seems pretty straightforward. Then again, we'll start with that. We can take the bishop afterwards. Simple enough. So he goes for it. There's one problem. He could move to c7 with his king. Oh, excuse me. I'm white. He could move to f7. f7 with his king. I could do this and threaten mate in 1. Seems better. I told you, he's just gonna simply take the pawns out. You know, out of respect, I'm just gonna resign this game. Sorry, guys. It happens. Oh, could we offer a rematch? Give it a try, Gambit 1919. So we were thinking this. I could file up my other rook right behind it. We have a challenge. Oh, I have an idea. How about a live chess game? We haven't had one in a while. I'm gonna go 15-10, one of my comfortable speed settings. The same I use at my local clubs. Clubs, plural. I hold 2. One in one town, one in a neighboring town. I have actually decided to start holding it twice a week in one of the towns. One day accommodates certain members, and the other day accommodates the regulars. One member who was a regular can't make the current day that we have the regular meeting, so I've added another day that he can make, and I'm confident one other player will probably show up there. These clubs are small. We are not the Marshall nor the Manhattan Chess Club by any means, but I'm quite happy with what I've done. I started the initial club over a year ago, and it's grown in membership quite significantly. As far as regulars, I can almost guarantee 3 other players aside from myself. So that's actually quite good when it comes to small local chess clubs like my own. Anyway, the White's playing the closed Sicilian response to Black's Sicilian defense, of course. And knight to c6 is a common play. Bishop to c4 might be slightly out of book. I'm not entirely sure about that. But I'm just going to play my pawn because I feel that bishop is slightly under tempo in its development because it's not going to effectively target f7. Certainly not now, but even before I could have stalled. I could have waited for him to move his knight to f3 and then knight to g5, intending the fork at f7 on Black's queen and kingside rook. There's that knight right there. but I halted the bishop's line of defense by playing e6. I'm going to play knight to e7. That is my kingside knight to e7, because I plan to play g6 and then fianchetto my kingside bishop to g7. This is a very hyper-modern Sicilian defense position. Any sort of fianchettoing of bishops can be very effective, as they do control the center squares, those four that are e4, d4, and e5 and d5, the most important squares in the game when playing a central attack. So, hypermodern school of chess theory controls that center line with the knights to a point, but mostly with fianchettoed bishops, whereas a standard classic open game, both the knights are deployed like whites are, and together control the center. This is all very common here. His response is common. So I play d5. I don't need to exchange pawns, though I did drop the pawn at d5 at c5 because of my knight blocking my bishop at f8. But you know, I'm willing to take that chance. I do pressure his bishop. So you know, he's obligated to move that, which would drop tempo. I mean, he would have to go to b3. He wouldn't mind coming back to a4, pinning my knight at c6 to my king. But that's two moves. I could get a lot of development as he tries that. I mean, in particular, I could play a6 and then play my pawn to b5. Then that opens up the b7 square for a fianchetto of my queenside bishop. Wow, 17 minutes. It's going to be a long video. I'm home. I'm just relaxing. I saw one of my shows. You know, you record shows. We all do, right? And I felt like, hey, let's play some chess. And then I thought a live game would be fun, but my opponent seems to be pretty slow. What exactly is that flag? So I have over 3 minutes on him. That could be quite useful in the endgame. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So I now support the pawn at c5 by playing b6. $10.81 is terrible. That's nowhere near my rating. I mean, I'm at probably twice that. I'm not boasting. Maybe not twice, but certainly over 2,000. You gotta realize, chess.com, like any online chess site, is prone to cheaters, and it skews the median average of the group of competition, which affects the relativistic nature of the ELO rating system. So ELO, that's ELO, typically starts players provisionally at 1200. Provisional rating means you have to complete 25 rated games. This is according to the USCF, the United States Chess Federation rules, in order to become official. And provisional rating variation is a lot different than after you're no longer provisional. The way the numbers change, is different. Alright, I'm going to just fianchetto my bishop to b7. Brings another defender on my knight at c6. Excuse me, I'm going to do something I shouldn't. I'm going to light up. Alright. Don't smoke, it's bad for you. There's a reason why a lot of this video is dedicated to my correspondence chess games. Can you cheat during a live game? Yes. 15-10, easily. We are waiting for his chess engine program to come up with the next move, or we're sincerely just waiting for him to decide. I don't care. If I beat a chess engine, good for me. Correspondence chess, very easy to use an engine. You're given 1, maybe 30 days to make one move. It's plenty of time to analyze the game. Now, if you do it on your own, kudos. That's what I do. But can you consult a chess engine? Easily. Though I find a lot of correspondence chess players play a very large game load, 100 games or so, and they really spend very little time per game, like I do, if you've noticed, in some of my games, and you just play through the positions. It's like you're playing a massive simul exhibition against 100 other players. That could last like a month. I still think it's fun. Yeah, this guy's taking quite some time, but he does have a hard decision. I've played a player in real life who moves as slowly as this guy. Okay, that's been pretty long. That's called dead air. Dead air. When you don't hear anything over an audio medium like radio, or in this case, just the audio of the video, because the video's still. But when you don't hear anything for a while, that's called dead air. Dead air is discouraged on radio stations. It happens, though. Usually technical difficulties. Where I live, there was a superstorm that hit our coast, and I used to still do, listen to a freeform radio station called WFMU 91.1 if you're in Jersey, northeastern Jersey, central to northeastern Jersey. It's also on 90.1 in lower state New York, like Warwick, New York, and 91.9 in New York City and Rockland County. Also online at wfmu.org. That's wfmu.org. No www before that, simply http wfmu.org. It's a great station. And after this superstorm that hit, my opponent's moved. One of their stations went down. They have, like I said, 2 antennas. One is boosted to get a third frequency under a sub-frequency of the other. Their main frequency is strong. But it all went down. They did continue to broadcast online with the assistance of some of the DJs in their homes, using their laptops to stream the music online, as they normally do anyway. It hit the location of their studio pretty hard, this particular storm. And that city itself that it's in is prone to flooding to begin with. So a lot of dead air. We're talking days. But you could listen to them online. It was remarkable. They almost didn't even miss a step with online broadcasting. And they pride themselves on their online broadcast and their online archive of past shows. One of the first, if not the first radio station to start to archive their broadcasts. WFMU is a pioneer in radio in every sense of the word. A free-form radio station where DJs play whatever they want and are each allotted 3 hours, typically, sometimes 1 or 2 if requested, and they work for free. All voluntary DJs. Being a public radio station, WFMU has an annual fundraiser. Most public radio stations give you quarterly fundraisers. That's 4 times a year. This radio station, WFMU, gives you one fundraising event a year, lasting 2 weeks back to back, which interrupts programming, but mind you, it's still very fun and enjoyable to listen to, unlike most public radio stations. And WFMU hosts and backs a lot, with vendors, a annual record fair that is globally renowned. People from all over the planet, including European nations like Germany and England proper, and everything else included, come to America to go to this event. In New York City, sometimes it's changed around a couple locations. Currently, I'm not sure where they hold it. They did find a home, for the most part, in one place, in New York City. This is WFMU. This is a wonderful radio station. This is what radio should be. Here. Do you want to listen to what's playing right now? I can't talk over this, so enjoy the music for the rest of this video.
It's just that I get passionate about the truth.
Oh.
I know, it's cool. I'm just...
Hardy White is a good guy, but it's a talk format. So, I'll bring up an archive show. Let's see, how do I get to the archive? Whoops. Here we go, archives and podcasts. Here's an interesting one. It's called Vocal Fry. Let's just check in the game real quick. I forget the DJ's name. This is interesting. This is all music. Excuse me, this is all music that's generated with the human voice. Throat singing, yodeling, whistling. It's really a cool show. This guy's screwed. Sorry. Look, my knight at c6 to knight b4 attacks the queen and the pawn at c2. Devastating. I hope. Let's excellent. A fork on his queen and rook. See the fork? Bam, fork. Let's see who's out there. I'm gonna open up with e4. Go talk a little here. Okay, knight to f3, basic. Alright, bishop c4, of course, intending knight g5 to target f7 pawn with the fork against the queen and the rook. However, he plays bishop to c5, a good response. So I'm gonna play b4, called the Evans Gambit. Alright, enjoy the show from here. Oh, atypical attack, or a capture. It's called Evans Gambit for a reason. That's atypical, but I'll deflect anyway.
lots of love, it's all been vain. No matter how I struggle and strive, I'll never get out of this world alive. My fishing pole's broke, creeks full of sand, wouldn't run away with another man. No matter how I struggle and strive, I'll never get out of this world alive. My distant uncle passed away. He left me quite a stash, living high to a fateful day. You think I wasn't born, I was only hatched. Everything's against me, it's calmed me down. Jumped in a river, I would surely drown. No matter how I struggle, I'll never get out of this world alive. Stash. I was living high until that fatal day. You think I wasn't born, that I was only hatched. Everything's against me, it's calmed me down. If I jumped in a river, surely drown. No matter how I struggle. tapping. Can't help the chasing, I'm rolling, I'm tapping. My love is a tearjerker, like moldy junk food. I lost my love, hurt on fire, there's no cure but Rex. I'm tapping. I'm tapping. Wall to wall, comfort. At the very beat.
things like that.